that we need to just let go of the June 11th retreat day. We, we basically just said that we're holding off on meetings until July 20th. So I feel like that goes in against, the plan to meet in person. So I think we can do some sort of something still in the future, in the near future, hopefully. But I think we should push it out after July 20th. So anybody have heartburn with that?
Well, sorry.
Okay.
Did you? Okay. Wow. Can I propose then that if we do that, if we put this off, I do think that we're working remarkably well together via Zoom. I would love to see everybody more often than I do. I see snatches of you guys, and I think that always builds relationships, but I understand the point that you made about our policy. What I'd like to recommend on just a practical nature, we usually do goals for a year, right? I think so. And maybe we could do, like, I operate more on an 18-month calendar myself, and because I like to plan a little further out. And I'm wondering if that could be an option, that if we put this off, that we're going to continue to use every opportunity to see each other, where the camaraderie is great, and that we could then invest mid-year in more than a 5-month, project or program or, timeline, whatever. I'd be a big fan of 18 months. Maybe then we could get back on track.
I think that makes sense. And I will say that June has 5 Wednesdays. So one thought was to just have kind of a mini retreat, long study session, or, a bonus study session with a couple of topics, different, more casual format on the 5th Wednesday in June, which would be the 29th. Anna. Go ahead, Denise. I'm sorry.
I mean, we've got baseball tickets. But I could do it, but there's been an investment made, family.
Yeah,
sorry,
so
I shouldn't do that.
Usually, we, I mean, there's only 4 Wednesdays off anyways, with the way this schedule works, but usually it's sort of lightly reserved if there's overflow work. So anyway, we'll
I
look
can
at
change.
that as a group.
I can change.
Anna.
Thanks, Michael. The retreat last year, or the joint planning session last year, was held remotely, was it not?
It was.
So I feel that we have put this off so very often, and that there are serious things we need to discuss because when we establish goals and priorities, then we start thinking about getting, money for them, making them actually happen. The budget is going to be starting in August. Yeah. In fact, it's, already started. And I think we should really sit down and think about what we as a council intend to achieve. If we have to do it remotely, well, that's lousy. But, I personally will bring provisions to my desk so that I do not have to get up between times and eat food. I think that I submitted my list of goals and priorities back on February 28th, which was the original deadline. And I'm sure everybody else has submitted theirs as well. I really think we should make an effort to, even if we have to meet remotely, meet on June 11th. And the other reason I think that, President Goodnow, is that when we talked about July 20th as a possible start date for in-person meetings, we were also very soberly and seriously looking at the real possibility that we would not do that until September. I think if we put it off beyond June 11th, which is a date that all of us have free, that it will be a shame to miss the opportunity to do it in person, but perhaps we could, do it in the backyard of Norm Dick's, or, stand around in the parking lot, even for a brief amount of time. I think if we're gonna, I really, in case this isn't clear, I feel strongly that we should do it on June 11th. And here's how strongly I feel. I want to sing about it, but I'm not.
All right, thank you. Jennifer.
Yeah, I would like to have the retreat. Is there any other reason besides the inconvenience of not being in person? Because I think it's time that we all meet. Is there any other reason besides the in-person thing?
But just that we passed a resolution saying we wouldn't meet in person, and I feel there's so much value in us getting together when we can.
I feel there's more value in getting business done and having a retreat. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jeff.
Yeah, I like the outside suggestion, if that would work. If we can get by with being in person, if folks are comfortable. I understand I wanted to ballot the resolution, but yeah, I'd like us to meet. I would be okay with maybe a month postponement if we can make sure that everyone can actually make that date that was originally going to make the date. We're getting close to people's calendars are filled up. And just in the past, I've heard suggestions to hold the annual council retreat closer to the budget season anyway, just so that our priorities are fresh in our mind when crafting the budget, which is really drives the following year in terms of what happens in the city. But otherwise, I'll continue to hold June. I'm happy to meet remotely as well. I do appreciate being in person. If there's any way to finagle that, I'm for it. If we can figure out a July date, I'd be okay with that, because it puts us close enough to budget season where we can still have meaningful impact on the budget. But anyway, yeah, there's my thoughts.
Thanks. Yeah, I've considered outdoor meetings. Part of it is just it has to be an open public meeting. So there's just a lot, and then there's a technology component to that. I don't think necessarily, a laptop outside is going to capture everything. Denise.
I'm just wondering, is this a facilitated process? Would we have some kind of a facilitator that's not a member of the team that's so closely working with all this, or is this kind of an organic thing? How is this done? Or, is it the council president's party, and so the theme and everything, is his? I don't know. I'm new to this.
It's my party. No, it's Denise. Why you're making me smile is we both, of course, have a big nonprofit background, and the word retreat kind of invokes maybe something very different. It's sort of a long study session with lunch is how I might describe it. I mean, not, we do sometimes have things presented. Typically, we just go over the goals that we're operating off of, and possible, like for instance, we can say, oh, let's remove the noise ordinance from the council goals, because it's been taken care of, or it's so close that it's fine. And then we'll just talk about things, and we might look at a goal that it exists and say, that needs to be broken into 2 goals, so we can sort of maybe accomplish something. We add things, we maybe take some off, if there's time at the end, we sometimes have a little more of an organic free time to talk about stuff. So all right, I didn't plan a long discussion on this, so Anna, if I can get a final thought on that.
Councillor Younger, I know you're in quarantine. Would you be able to attend an in-person meeting on June 11th? Okay.
No, we just made a I'm sorry. I should have raised my hand. Hey, I raised my hand. We just made a policy that we're not gonna do in-person meetings till July 20th. If the only reason that we're being canceled is because we're not meeting in person, Anna brought up the point that you already did the retreat via Zoom. So I guess I'm feeling silenced and annoyed is how I'm feeling by having went through this whole process with city staff too. I mean, with our council staff helping us to find the right date. We have a date that works. I know that, you know, like it's great to build relationships in person, but I really want to get to work. And I feel a little bit silenced by not being allowed that opportunity to have this date that we've been setting aside. We've been looking at it. We planned it. We all came to, you know, an agreement about this time on this day, and we are ready for it. And I don't understand why it's being canceled just because we're not going to be in person. So let's just get it done, please.
All right. Thanks. So we'll figure out what we can do. So we can, doing it virtually seems doable. So, all right. We've got a executive session next.